Hey everybody, Craig Cottle, Director of Nature Reliance School. Talking about Bushcraft Butthurt today. This is one of those times where the video is going to be a good video, I hope, but I think it would be worth your while to check out the blog piece attached to this video, because it's going to have more and varied information to illustrate the points I'm trying to make. I'm going to be utilizing a compass today to illustrate what I mean by Bushcraft Butthurt, and more importantly, how to get past it. And this is going to be a three-part series. Part one today is going to be about on the individual level. Part two is going to discuss the group level, basically how schools compete or work together. And then three, we're going to look at it, again, utilizing the compass in every one of these on a much larger scale. So thanks for joining me, and I'm going to have to put the camera down to focus on the compass on this, so come back to you in just a moment. All right, so here's the compass that I mentioned in the blog piece, but here is our north arrow, as I mentioned there. It's always going to point north, no matter what I do and pick this compass up. If I'm holding it level, it always is going to reference north, magnetic north. This arrow right here is the second arrow I'll talk about. That's the direction of travel. And then thirdly, this arrow right here is the one that's inside the housing that aligns with the meridian lines within the housing of the compass. So with that said, here's what I mean by those particular arrows on an individual level as far as it pertains to Bushcraft Butthurt. So let's think about it on the individual level. The north arrow is going to represent, in essence, what your goals are. Your goals in bushcraft are to become better at bushcrafting, whether it's bushcrafting survival. You want to train in that so that you're better with your experiences in the woods, so that you can save your own life in a bad predicament, or you're doing it for a hobby. Most bushcrafters are hobbyists. You know, they go to work someplace else every day, and so they're not necessarily living the life of a bushcrafter. That's the north arrow. But if we look at the direction of travel, then we might recognize, hey, we want to become a better bushcrafter. And so we know that we keep that focus. That's our focus, utilizing our direction of travel, because that's telling us the direction we want to go, whether north arrow is over there. What I mean by that is this, is that let's say that we hold somebody in high regard that's a bushcrafter, bushcrafting instructor, lived off the land for 20 years or 2 months or whatever. We might have them as a goal. That's maybe our north arrow, where we want to go. But we have to have our own direction of travel, and we have to be able to know what that is. Because if all we ever do is follow along the way somebody else is doing it, we're never going to develop the ingenuity that we need to on an individual level. And ingenuity and creativity, in my opinion, is what bushcraft is all about. That's why if we follow along with, let's say you follow along with me, let's just use me as an example, as an instructor, as I own a school and run a school, teach bushcrafting. If you only do it my way, then you're not developing that creativity and ingenuity. You've got to be able to develop that creativity to do bushcraft right. Again, that's my opinion. Now, the innermost arrow represents our ability to navigate successfully with a known. So what I mean by that is we use that housing to apply red thread in the shed. If you don't know what that means, you need to come to a land nav class with Nature Reliance School to apply red thread in the shed, because we might be off course. We want to make sure that we get on course, and part of that is that we utilize the north arrow to make sure our compass is set up properly and we're navigating properly. So even though let's say I as a student am wanting to develop my bushcraft skills, that's the direction of travel, and I see person A over there that is somebody that I look up to. Let's say, for example, Pernicki, that, you know, lived in the Alaskan bush for quite a while. Let's say he's somebody that I want to emulate, then I might have to navigate away from what I feel comfortable doing so that I can be more like him. But at the same time, I have my own direction of travel. I hope this makes sense, because what happens is that some of us don't have a direction of travel at all, and all we do is follow that guy. And all we do is emulate a person, whether it's a TV personality or it might be somebody that, you know, actually has some really good skill. And if that's all we do, then we don't develop our own skill. So in that regard, then we'll probably get to that point and have being able to parrot information, repeat certain styles of doing bushcraft, but we have not developed the creativity that is needed to be able to do it right, which is the old Marine adages: adapt, improvise, and overcome. Adapt and improvise is building creativity. So that's our goal, to build that creativity. Again, this is part one. Next part, I'm going to be discussing bushcraft butthurt on the level of schools and ways. Like, for example, should schools compete with one another or should they work with one another? Some people think it's the first one. Some people think it's the second one. I think it's pretty obvious how I feel, and I'll make sure that I apply those principles to the compass to make it a little bit more real for you. So join us for those. And again, look at the blog piece attached to this, because it'll have more and varied information that'll enhance what it is I've said on video. And whenever you can, get outside. Come on. Join in. And let's learn together. Hey, I hope it goes without saying, but please, if you like this information, then share it from the blog piece. That way it brings exposure to Nature Reliance School and what it is that we're doing. Join us for a class. We've got an incredibly full calendar in the coming year. Land navigation is one of the topics. Survival, obviously, bushcrafting. We have a field craft combatives class this year, and emergency communications, and we are partnering with a number of other organizations to do a wide range of classes. So please join us for class in 2018. Come on, join in. Let's learn together.